Hello, everyone. Welcome to my dining room. I am Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep. Welcome to a few days before baseball starts. We've been drafting Underdog. We're going to mix it up a little bit tonight before we draft. Bring in my guests here. Ooh, how do you like that? Some real up close face shots. All right, we got Matt Meiselman and Nick Shlain. Shlain. I've never
You got
figured your name out loud. So why don't you go
you got
first
it.
and introduce yourself, and if people don't know who you are.
Yeah, my name's Nick. I do some MLB DFS content for FTN Daily and some sports betting, MLB betting content for Action Network.
Cool. And Matt, what about you?
So right now I am just sort of doing my own thing. Got a Discord called Value Betting. I used to work for DraftKings. That was until September. So I've been sort of in this area now for, I don't know, like 3+ years of betting and several more of DFS. So I've just been kind of bouncing around. But yeah, I guess for now I'm solo, but happy to be joining you guys.
Excellent. Yeah. You and I this is our first time talking in person, so to speak, but we've been talking online for years at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like 4 years now or something.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, I wanted, just to mix stuff up tonight a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball betting. So I know, of course, I didn't open my outline before we started. All right. So yeah, we're about 6 days, I think, before opening day. The odds have been up for a couple of weeks on a lot of stuff. Matt, have you taken any bets at this point?
Yeah, I usually so I do have a Mets win total under that. Strangely enough, was after the Edwin Diaz injury, and I'm probably as vocal as anyone on closers don't matter. It's a dumb position, like we overrated all of that. But Diaz is a special quality of closer, and going by Derek Hardy's projections, he has season-long win totals posted. The Mets looked overrated anyway. Like some people might think that having Scherzer replace DeGrom is negligible, or having Verlander replace DeGrom is somewhat negligible. But that's a pretty big drop off. DeGrom is, like, I think, easily in his own tier. So the Mets looked a little overvalued to begin with. There were a couple bets in like 95.5, 93.5, 92.5. I think most books probably have around that 92.5 now. I haven't bet much else, though, because in general, I tend to wait until like 2 to 8 weeks into the season and sort of bet futures as results happen. So without like giving a very long version of this, I'll try to give like the one sentence version. But basically, sportsbooks towards the end of the year will not let you bet futures like while games are happening, because the results of the games affect the futures market so strongly. But early in the year, there's still some effect, but they don't tend to care. So there's sort of this like sweet spot in the 1 to 3 month range where like the games do affect, like if the Astros lose to the Angels, that changes the AL West landscape to some extent, but the sports books basically ignore it. So I tend to like wait usually about a month before I start heavily betting team futures. Player futures kind of the same, although it just kind of depends what happens.
Okay. Nick, have you taken anything out so far?
I just used my boost on the Yankees to win the World Series, but that's kind of nice. Just wishful. I think the Astros losing Verlander was very important. He's been kind of a trump card for them in the playoffs the last few years against the Yankees. So, without him there, with Rodon on the Yankees, I think I just think those two teams are still above the other teams in the American League, like Toronto and Seattle and these other, the AL Central doesn't really have a great team. So I like the Yankees' path to getting there. And then like whatever National League team, I like the National League is loaded. So like whatever National League team gets there will just be like on their last legs, kind of like last year where the Phillies, like they had to beat the Cardinals and they had to, I forget who they played in the championship series, but it's just like, it's a gauntlet with, especially that division with Atlanta and obviously the Mets. Like I totally hear what Matt is saying. I remember in our little group chat before we did this, like just looking at some of the futures odds and stuff, like the Mets, like Pete Alonso, his like over under for homers is like pushing almost 40 home runs on DraftKings, and I think Cardi has him for like 33 home runs or something. Like, I don't know if the Mets and Pete Alonso are just inevitable, but and especially they just had their closer going down, but like that team is stacked. I could see them trading for Shohei Ohtani this summer if that ends up happening, if the Angels fall out. Their owner just wants to win, and same thing with the Phillies. Like the Phillies owner has come out and said, like, I don't want to be remembered for all this money I have. I want to be remembered for the Phillies winning. So like that's why they go out and make the World Series, and they go out and sign Trey Turner. So like I kind of look for stuff like that where there's real incentive. That's kind of like been my edge, and like season long like fantasy has been like last year I was like I wrote up Judge for the MVP just based purely off, it was his contract year. I mean, he's never played that many games before or anything, but it was just like, if anyone's gonna go out, like, and Freddie Freeman had just done it like the year before, like in his contract year, just had his best year, and so like Judge last year, and like I wrote up Luis Garcia for Cy Young last year just because the odds were really good. I thought he'd pitch a lot more innings, but I was like, Verlander at like 20-1 is also a really good bet, and then that's what ended up happening.
Yeah. So Matt mentioned that he uses the bat stuff. Do you have a system you rely on, Nick, at all, or are you just more of a feel? It sounds like more of a feel on that.
For like season long stuff,
yeah,
or and betting. Yeah, I mean,
do you have a preferred thing?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely take into account the bat with anything I do baseball, but I'm not like just worshiping at that altar and just only going through that. I definitely go off a feel a little bit.
Yeah, I don't entirely use the bat either. Like, I'm sort of doing like a weighted average in my head, I would say, where the bat is by far the strongest input, but then depending on what type of bet we're talking about, I'm going to have certain other inputs. So for a player awards thing, it'll probably be that plus like what people around baseball writers are saying, because these are voting based things. So it's not just necessarily this is true of every sport. For who wins an award, it's not a matter of who has the best statistics or even who has the highest WAR in a particular category. It's like who feels like they have the right narrative. So sometimes, yeah, like that is more important. Paul Goldschmidt was only the highest WAR National Leaguer last year by like a 1/10 or 2/10 of a win, but he was like a 20-1 favorite with a month left in the season, just because like all of the baseball writers had essentially decided he was going to get it. Like, team success was part of that. Like, you can't just use the bat for that because that is a subjective thing. But even for like game-to-game betting or season over-unders, you can look at like Fangraphs projections too. You can look at Baseball Prospectus. For players, you can look at Zips and Steamer and whatever. So like, I'm going to weight the bat in my mind as at least 50% of my input for all things, just because I think it is by far the best. But there's almost nothing where I won't at least take something else into account. There's like a couple exceptions where I just blindly follow what it says, but for the most part, I'm like putting in a couple other things too.
Can I ask Matt a question before I forget it?
Sure.
No,
you may not.
No? Okay. Let's move on then. What did you think about, because you brought it up, what did you think about like Strider versus Harris for the Rookie of the Year last year? Because that was a thing where Strider seemed like he was really favored, and then when he got hurt at the end of the year, it was just like, oh, Harris is a lock now, and I still don't really get that.
I struggled with that one too. I actually came out ahead financially on every award except for that one, because I was in somewhat early as guys were starting to pull away for, I guess, the 6 major awards: Rookie of the Year in both leagues, MVP in both leagues, Cy Young in both leagues. It wasn't like I picked all those guys before the season or anything, but there was enough time where the markets were slow to adjust. But Strider, like, that was, I didn't think Harris had any shot until Strider went down. Like, I think in Strider's last start before he got hurt, he had like 17 strikeouts against the Rockies or something crazy. And yeah, the injury, like, that's always hard because like you don't know what the voters are going to care about there. Like, if we went back and looked at those 2 seasons, I think Harris was more valuable to the Braves, but Strider did something that was unprecedented. Like, I think it was the all-time rookie record for strikeouts. So I had no idea, like, at the point Strider went down, I thought it was 50-50. Like, it was 80-20 Strider or 90-10. Then he got hurt, and I was like, oh, it's 50-50 now. So I think at the time Harris was like plus 200. I bet what I could bet, but, you know, limits and whatever. It's not like you can just bet all your money. And then it got to where it was like minus 110 for both guys. And I was like, all right, you know, whatever happens, happens at this point. And then Harris, obviously, I think he had a really strong final 2 weeks and just pulled away. So I don't know who actually deserved it, because deserve is like it's a tricky subject when it comes to awards. Like, who even decides what the criteria is? Like, we're sort of in the dark on that. But both guys were amazing.
That's acceptable.
So I don't think there was a bad choice there.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned it there, Matt. I think a lot of people don't really think about these awards betting as a whole season long sort of idea. A lot of times, you know, they'll take a guy because he has really long odds at the beginning of the year for any award, or they'll take a guy at one point during the season and then sort of just kind of move on and count their money or count their losses or ignore their losses. So you want to talk a little bit about how you kind of attack stuff throughout the year?
Yeah, because I guess like the best way to bet on baseball, because there's so many numbers available, you can quantify almost anything, would be to just look at the expected value where you've got like 55% win probability on a money line and the line is even. So, you know, it should be 50, but it's 55. And so you have an edge. But with awards, no one can quantify that. Like, everyone is guessing. I mean, to some extent, team futures we're guessing, and to some extent, even day-to-day betting, we're estimating. Like, we don't know exactly the probability of every game. But for awards betting, we really don't know. But I still think it's really helpful to like keep in mind before you make a bet, at least like a rough idea of what the percentage chance the player has of winning the thing is. Like, don't just bet a guy at 100-1 because he seems like a fun guy to root for. Like, that probability needs to be over 1% for it to be a good bet. So anytime I'm betting a future, I'm at least trying to think in those terms, but at the end of the day, I'm estimating what I think the probabilities are. But it's still a good heuristic where like you avoid a lot of bad bets. And for those cases where I'm like on the fringe, where I'm like, is this guy 20% or 30% or 40% to win this award? I'll kind of just average in. Like, I think the market is undervaluing someone, so I'll bet like a little bit of money, and then maybe he has a good game or a couple good games in a row, and I'll bet a little bit more. Or if he goes on a cold streak, then I didn't end up having to bet as much, and that guy doesn't win anyway. So the baseball season's really long, and you could probably justify making like 10,000 future bets over the course of the season. If you just, every time you thought someone was good value, you placed a bet, you'd end up with like your whole bankroll would be gone in the first month. So I try to keep the bet size as small and sort of like average over the course of the season. Sometimes that really helps you. Like, I thought O'Neal Cruz was going to be a lock for rookie of the year, or, you know, have a good chance. And I'm happy I didn't bet too much on it because he just went on a massive cold streak. On the other side of that, Verlander, yeah, like Nick was saying, really long odds early. And I bet some on him, but I, in hindsight, wish I had more. So I think this is just inevitable. Like, I'm not going to go into the year saying, you know, Tristan Cases is like, you know, he's the guy for rookie of the year and just put all of my, you know, future bankroll towards him. I'm going to kind of like pick and choose and just give myself a chance to be able to add on to guys later. But it's an inherently pretty difficult thing that I think most people don't do very well.
Nick, do you plan out your bankroll throughout the season for futures separately from like your daily stuff, or is it sort of as you see things that you like?
It's all one bankroll to me. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of go with the flow. I'm not maybe as serious as Matt about the awards. I didn't bet on all of the MVPs and Cy Youngs and Rookie of the Years. I did have some. I had
for every sport, actually. I have a bet on every award for every sport every season. This is like, okay, I understand. Like, you're in the majority there. That's more normal.
I'm still recovering from Evan Mobley not being Rookie of the Year last year.
Oh yeah, same.
So that was because I hedged with Cunningham for some reason instead of Barnes. I just never thought Barnes would win it. So, yeah, so I've had my heart broken on that. But I had Judge, I had Verlander. I hedged with Harris in time to make that profitable, but obviously would have had a lot more money. I had a lot more money invested in Strider, or would have won more with Strider. So, you brought up Casas. I'll just throw out, I think Volpe is going to make the team. So, I mean, I don't know if those odds have flipped, but Anthony Volpe on the Yankees, I think he could be in the mix for Rookie of the Year this year for sure.
Let's see if I can pull that up. I don't know. We have Matt, who's the hardcore guy, Nick, who's the casual guy, and me, who really I don't bet at all. So that's why I had you guys.
Well, I did see.
Volpe is ahead of him on most of the books, I'm pretty sure, but he's not.
Oh, is he already ahead?
He is ahead. Yeah. Okay. I think Gunnar Henderson is like a significant favorite.
Yeah, I mean Henderson will probably win. Henderson's really good too. So, the one thing I did want to note too is like Volpe steals a lot of bases, so I'm sure the odds have flipped on this by now. But I did see there was like some 100 to 1s or 150 to 1s on Volpe to lead the league in steals. And if he makes the team, which is still up in the air, that could be a good one too.
Yeah, he did play today with the big boy lineup in the split squad, so that was kind of a good sign for him. So outside of all the awards and wins and stuff, Matt, do you get into any like other statistics like steals or home run leaders, hit leaders? we could get to the whole steal story, but some of the exotic stuff, maybe not on a day-to-day, but do you take futures on any of the other categories?
I had bets on home run and strikeout leaders last year. I wouldn't call that super exotic, but stolen bases for sure. Like on a day-to-day basis, that's by far the strangest thing that I was wagering on last year. And it was really like 2 months where it was very, very lucrative. And I actually don't know if it'll come back. There were books that stopped offering stolen bases entirely in August, like July and August. And then at some point in, I think, early August, the entire market for stolen bases basically was cut in a third. So like guys who would normally be 12 to 1 or 15 to 1 were 4 or 5 to 1 just from that point forward at every single sports book. And I mean, if I want to like be very egotistical, I can say I had something to do with it. Maybe it was just a lot of people. I know that I'm more public than most people who do well at betting. Like in Nick's world too, like if we win bets, we want to share. Like it's fun. And we want to help people win. And it's just really fun to do that and to write it up and all of that. But I know there are bettors who just don't. And those people may have been betting way more money than I was on the same stuff that I'm betting on. And they're the ones who cratered the market. We're never going to know that. But they're certainly the one thing that is for sure is that stolen bases were, you could win, like it was significant positive expected value to bet on almost every player on several teams a day based on who the opposing pitcher was. Like there would be a full lineup where just every guy in the order was a good bet from like the middle of June through the end of July. Like it just was nonstop based on what the bats projections were. Like I had 40 stolen base bets a day for like a month.
Who was the weirdest guy that you bet on to get a stolen base?
I think there were 4 instances last year where I won money on a guy who was his first steal of the season in the summer. It was Eddie Rosario, Andrew Benintendi, Ryan Mountcastle, and there might have been a couple more. Monty Harrison, Sky Bolt, Bubba Thompson. There might even be more that I'm not.
Bubba can fly.
Yeah, Bubba Thompson was a plus 1,200 in his first game, and he stole 2 in his debut. He had a bunt single and a steal and another bunt single and a steal, and then he was never more than plus 250 the rest of his season. They just like, there were these games where the books would just make a guy who is a stolen base machine in the minors over 10-1 odds to steal a base. Estuary Ruiz was the same thing. Although that was my worst beat by far, because I think he set a record in the minors last year for stolen bases. And in his first game, he was a 14-1 bet to get a steal, and he stole it, and then it got overturned on a challenge. So that was the only time that happened. That was upsetting. But yeah, it was, I mean, there were some weird names. Like most of the guys I just listed, I think the average person doesn't even like. Monty Harrison played like 17 games last year for the Angels or something.
Yeah.
But if the guy said it was good, I was doing it. So yeah.
I think I know how the odds flip, because the secret definitely got out a little bit about stolen bases, and I have a question for you after this, but like I think like when Noah Syndergaard was pitching with Max Stassi catching, it was like automatic, and it became like you were saying, like they had guys who were like guys who don't steal that many bases were like 12-1.
Yeah.
It flipped to where you needed to steal 2 bases off of him to get to 12-1.
I'm pretty sure Jesus Aguilar got a steal off Syndergaard last year, and there were no odds on him. Like you couldn't even bet him. It was his first career steal, and he got it off him. Yeah, so it was just insane. I think people definitely knew about Syndergaard for sure.
Yeah,
when he had Real Muto as his catcher, it wasn't as good anymore. So you're right, it was the catcher. Yeah. I think it was Stassi and Suzuki. It was just when he was on the Angels, but then when he left the Angels,
just either one. Good. Yeah. So what do you think is more important, like guy who steals a lot of bases, or like pitcher and catcher who just can't?
I mean, I'll just give what Cardi says. It's the pitcher, because it's not that the pitcher is necessarily the biggest variable. The biggest variable is the base runner, but the pitcher is the most under-accounted for component. So it's the most undervalued element there. Like the thing that determines the stolen base to the largest degree is, does the runner try to run? But the pitcher is in there somewhere near the top, but the books don't account for the pitcher. So that just tends to be like, that's why it's like that, where in a certain game, like Robbie Ray's pitching and I have 7 stolen base bets on all of, 7 of the 9 guys in the other lineup. But then like if Dallas Keuchel's pitching, I have 0. Even if like Whit Merrifield's on the other team, it just doesn't matter because you can't run on him. So yeah, it was like the value was always centered around the pitcher for sure. And the catcher was like some of it, but it was mostly the pitcher. So we'll see this year. I know there's all these rule changes, and I kind of have no idea what's going to happen. The combination of the rule changes and then the combination of, like you said, cat getting out of the bag, like who even knows what the lines are going to be. I hope it's good again, but my hunch is that there's going to be some other new, intricate, exotic, weird bet type that will become the replacement instead of steals. But at this point, I have absolutely no idea what that'll be. It could be like, we could be betting, I think one of Cardi's suggestions was it could be like pitch count props, like over-unders on pitches thrown for guys. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be something weird for sure, though, I hope.
Yeah. Nick, you've done, some season-long stuff, fantasy. How have you attacked, or how do you see the steals going with all the rule changes? Do you have any guesses on that?
Yeah, so I actually wrote an article for FTN's season-long like baseball guide about all the different rules, all the different rule changes, and I basically had the same conclusion that Cardi had. I think he did a Twitter thread at least about the like the bigger bases and the pitch clock and how that's going to affect stolen bases. I think he said there's going to be, or at least in his projections, there's like going to be 600 more stolen bases than last year. And the way I was thinking about it was that the guys who already steal bases are going to steal more bases, because I mean, if you don't steal bases, it's not going to really help you that much. Right. I think the big thing is that you're not allowed to throw over more than one time. So if you get them to throw over to first, then you can just take a huge lead. The whole rest of the at bat, and then it'll definitely be easier to time, the pitcher up, because he has to throw it after 20 seconds. So I think there's just going to be a lot more stolen bases. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the odds on stuff like that, because I think we're going to have to start betting guys to steal 2 bases, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder how this is also going to be affecting the hitter in terms of if they'll take a pitch to give a guy a chance to run. Because if they know it's that easy to steal, Like it changes the whole calculus for a batter too. And there might be like very wide discrepancies where some teams have a different philosophy than other teams. And I think like personally, and maybe for anyone who wants to bet on props, we should be watching very closely for like the first 5 games just to see if there's a tendency we can pick up on. Because I actually think like the bat may lag behind. Projection systems may lag behind for 5 games. I think they'll catch up where we can just do what Cardi says at a certain point, like his numbers will adjust. But early, like there's going to be weirdness for sure. Like some teams may just, second the guy gets on, just go, and the batter doesn't even swing like at all until the guy gets a chance to steal second. Some teams may be the opposite. Like we have no idea. But it'll be interesting if like managers come out and say stuff too. That would also be pretty helpful.
Is there a live bet
in
of
spring
whether
training,
someone's
they're
going
just
to steal or not?
Sorry,
are you talking about live betting the steals in game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
on the next pitch.
So I think most of the sites do let you, but you can't do it while the guy's already on base. It would be like Starling Marte got out in the first inning, and then before he bats in the third inning, you get a new price and you can bet it. So it's not like it's not as much of a lottery machine, but you can still like read the game a bit and bet a prop based on that. Yeah. Although anytime the starting pitcher leaves the game, I think they pull all the props. So that also, takes away some of it. Like, someone who's like a lefty specialist or like a lefty who is really good with a pickoff move gets hurt in the first inning, and now a guy who is a slow move comes in. You can't now bet all the steals. They'll usually take those. But if you see something else in a game, then for sure, live betting is very interesting, and
seems like a slippery slope too.
it's probably the most lucrative and also the most dangerous way to bet on sports. Like if you really know it, if you're in that 1% of the 1% that can watch a game and really feel what's happening, you can probably just, retire off of that. And if you're anyone but those 13 people on planet Earth, you're probably going to lose money doing it. So I don't actually put myself in that category. I know I like think highly of my betting skills, but I usually don't even try to do that. It's a tough game.
Yeah. All right, so I know you gotta get out of here in a few minutes, Matt. So the one other question I had for you is moving more into the daily. One of the things I was kind of curious about is when do you make most of your bets for a day of baseball games?
So it's really like 2 parts to the day. There's the morning where you like for some, I think it depends on the kind of bet. So if you are trying to bet a strikeout prop, that is just like one book has a line that's different from all the other books. And you're just like, it's 5.5 at every site, but some other site you can bet over 4.5. Like you want to do that as early as possible because a lot of smart people are trying to do the same thing. So all of those like mispriced things where there's like a market, there's like a flaw at one site, that's as early as I can possibly get it, or even the night before sometimes. But then the next wave would be right when lineups come out, because there could be like a quirk in a batting order that changes the projection. So sometimes like we'll find out that Mike Trout's not in the lineup and the Angels are giving him the day off. I'll just try to make bets around that right then in that moment. So I would say it's like 9-10 a.m. Eastern, and then again at like 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern are like the 2 windows. Unlike basketball where you have to follow news, like any moment, anything can happen. Baseball doesn't operate that way. Fortunately, like if people are, have lives and have to have obligations and stuff to do, you can just be like, I have my morning hour and then I have my afternoon hour and then I'm good. Yeah, it's a lot less stressful. So I think that's like, if you're going to pay attention for any 2 hours a day, it would be like 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
That's why I hate
feel
basketball.
That way?
Yeah, that's why I hate basketball.
Yeah, do you want to plug your? Because I assume you're still going to do the basketball stuff going on as well. Kind of a good place to pop you out because I know you got to run. But where to find you and kind of talk about what you're doing for basketball right now. And I don't know if you know what you're doing for baseball.
Yeah, I'm still figuring out baseball. I will certainly have stuff on Twitter, and the Discord is called Value Betting. My Twitter handle is Value Betting MM. I'm hoping to be able to collaborate with Cardi in some capacity. We're figuring out. We'll see. But yeah, like my Twitter account is where I'm putting almost all my betting information, and then the Discord, which is linked on my Twitter account. It's free for now. Like I don't really have a plan yet as far as like what service or what monetization we're doing, but whatever. Anyone can join now. It's free. So it's people in there just for basketball. We're trying to like figure out the injury news. When baseball starts, there's going to be like a channel where that's still happening because basketball is going to still be going on. But then baseball is more like, what is the bat saying and what are we going to do? And, are there any other insights to have? But like, I'll say it again, like I rely very heavily on what Cardi puts out there because I just think it's so much more accessible, and I think it's just better and more accurate than other places, but they're projecting these intricate statistics where you can bet props on things that you just are not going to be able to do well using other things. Like Zips and Steamer can project the standings, and they could even project a win or a loss for a team every day in a similar capacity. But for these like very nuanced things, like people should have the bet. Like anyone who's serious about betting should at least have it. You can use other things too, but you should have it for sure.
Is there any other site or tool that you do use that you can share?
I use Stochastic more for basketball and football, but for baseball, I like sometimes will check what they have. Roto Grinders has good stuff. I know there are other good fantasy sites like ETR, Fantasy Labs, but I just don't like. There's only so many sources I can look at, so I've had phases where I've just aggregated, like I've just pulled things and averaged them, but yeah, I'm with like the NBA specifically. I'm following injury news so much that I'd rather just keep it simple. So I think there are tons and tons of good sources. Like most of them are good. The bat really just stands out for baseball, but I think every single one. I've used FTN for basketball too. Like when I was doing DFS, I was on there like every day. But as someone who's just betting now, it's really like it's just that.
Can I ask another question before you go?
Yeah.
So like for football, I do like touchdown parlays, and for basketball, sometimes I'll do like double parlays or like guys to make like 4 3-pointer parlays. What do you think is like the equivalent to that kind of thing in baseball? Would it be like homers or steals, or does it matter?
If you're trying to like find a high upside thing,
trying to find stuff that's like 40-1 on like 3 guys.
Yeah. In general, I would definitely rather bet one long shot than a parlay of multiple kind of long shots for equivalent odds because there's a vig associated with each thing. So it's like compounding. The casino's hold on it is compounding every time you add another bet. So I'd rather just bet one thing at 40-1. But for stolen bases and home runs, players on the same team can kind of be correlated with one another. And I think stolen bases is actually my favorite for that because you can have a double steal. It can literally happen on the same play. So like I had an Ohtani Taylor Ward parlay. I think it was the only time last year I hit a bet on a double steal where both guys stole. But like I literally think that would be the best way to do it. Like Marte and Lindor, or 2 guys that can steal on the same team, because you literally can get it where they're running together and if one's safe, they're both safe, and if one's out, they're both out. It's like they're super, super correlated some of the time, and it doesn't get priced that way. Like the bet is too abstract. Like they're not pricing in correlation. So I think home runs are similar. Like they knock the starter out of the game. You get like a position player in pitching. Both guys can homer. So yeah, I think I would bet like 2 of the same bet or 3 on the same team and just like stack them up and hope that you just get some weird game where like all of it happens together.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't like the idea of parlaying things from multiple games together. So yeah, the same game I think is better.
All right. Anything else you got to add?
Not really. I mean, I'm excited I'm like scared that baseball is so soon, but I'm definitely excited that it's so soon. So I know we'll be in touch and we'll talk. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll get back in the DFS streets at some point in the near future, but definitely starting the season just betting, and I'm probably just going to be following steals. So I just encourage everyone to pay attention to what happens there. I think it'll be fun, if nothing else.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to finally see you face to face, Nick. Good to meet you, and enjoy the second half of the show, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks.
All right,
bye. All right, now I got that jerk out of here. I'm kidding. He's a good guy. All right, So now we're gonna move on. Pop open some Underdog here. We can get that going. So Nick, I know you maybe you don't need to get into it, but I know you're in a state where you can't do a ton of Underdog. Anybody that wants to join, we're gonna jump into a dinger here. So do you end up doing a lot of slows, or do you travel, or
No,
or-
I have my ways.
Okay.
I have my ways. Yeah, I don't do slows. I can't just mentally. It's got to be all fast drafts for me. If I the slows, I got I got too much going on. I like people. I co-own some dynasty football teams. People are like offering me trades. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I did
yeah,
I did a bunch right at the beginning when it first opened, and I was just excited to draft, and then I stopped. That's basically where I'm at.
Yeah, I've been doing some recently. I've been I usually just do them at night or like on Sunday, like when all the idiots are drafting. Like last Sunday was really good. I was just like watching golf and just no badges anywhere to be found. So those were some really good teams. I feel like I got yeah, I've drafted almost 60, I want to say, in the dinger. No,
Okay.
55 or so.
Okay, that's about where I'm
I know
at too.
Yeah, I want to get to my goal was like to get to 75, just to say like I halfway maxed it, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's even realistic anymore for me. I do like one or two a night, and later than this, like I'll do them at like midnight or 1 Eastern time, just because those drafts will fill really fast too, because there's people on the West Coast, and the people that draft at night are dumb, so you get better teams. That's just, I mean, those are just facts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that way for football too. And like, I know I told you I wanted to do a bunch of DraftKings. I've done like 4, I think, and I hate their whole interface and everything so much. It's just like such a pain. So I don't know how many more I'll be doing of that. And I know I told you too that I have some guys that nobody takes.
You got some secret guys that you won't even share with me. We got Drew at the
I'll share
11th
them on
spot.
this stream with you.
Oh boy, Drew's on here, and I recognize E. David Berg. He's
I can share them with you because one of the guys got absolutely lit up today, and no one's going to want to take this guy. You're not going to want to take him even after I told you. So yeah, they're both pitchers.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm up. I already have more than 10% of each of them too, so it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't even matter anymore.
We got Drew and Billy Joe right next to each other. 11 and 12, kind of a no man's land there at the back.
What pick are you? This thing is so small. For some reason. No. It don't like change anything. But
okay.
This is just like in StreamYard, the screen is very tiny.
Oh, sure. I think you can maximize it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I can.
But no, I'm pick 9.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is really, yeah.
I can see.
So,
I mean, dude. I saw last night. Well, make your pick. I'll tell it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, auto Mookie.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. So last night, Yordan Alvarez went like 18th or something.
The 18th. Oh boy.
That
was even after he played in the game yesterday too.
I have no explanation why. Just people are stupid. He went like one pick ahead of me, I think, because I was so ready to get him in the second round. I was like, "That's kidding me."
That's always what happens. You're like, come on. Oh, one pick.
Yeah. Yeah. So, someone with a red badge got him, of course.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty anti pitcher in the first 2 rounds. I've really faded Cole, Burns, and Alcantara even more than those guys. I'll mix them in every once in a while. Do you have any rules about the first couple rounds in these pitchers, or are you mixing them in?
No, I like Cole and Burns. So I'm over 10%, I think, on each of them. But I don't have a lot of Vlad or Trey Turner. Freeman, I pretty much only take if I have Mookie. I love Pete Alonso. I have at least 15%, I would say, of Pete Alonso.
Okay. It's interesting here that Matt Olson has passed Austin Riley.
Yeah, I don't like that. I would take Riley, but I mean, it's your squad.
I'm pretty low in this group on Devers. I'm kind of at the point where I'm trying to get one or two picks of guys that I know I'm low on, and then still mix in my guys that I like for the last like handful of drafts. Just I think I was telling you this the other day. Eric's with you here. He thinks Pete hits 40 dingers. I was telling you this yesterday that what did I say? I lost my train of thought. Been a long
I'm
week.
with you. I'm with you though, because I'm at the same point where I'm like doing drafts. I gotta get George Springer. I gotta get, whoever that I'm low on, for sure. I mean, guys that I'm not intentionally low on. So like I don't mind that Devers pick either. I'm low on Devers for sure.
I remember I was telling you about the one the bunt to final lineup that I got in was basically one of these cover my butt drafts. It had like Tommy Edman and Bo Bichette. Bo I had pretty much totally faded for where he was going, and just sort of based on projections. And then Tommy Edman, I was all packed for the Dylan Carlson leadoff train, and then that was the one that finally got into the finals. So I don't know if that's probably just like superstition now to try and do that now at the end again, but it's sort of a natural, I think, human instinct to be like doing something for 2 months and then be like, well, either you'll be really confident in what you had to say and just keep doing it, or you'll start to doubt yourself.
I feel like I learned this lesson with football, best ball last year, where I was just like taking the same guys a little too much. My teams were very similar. So I had a lot of, Kadarius Toney, Allen Robinson, guys sucked. But yeah.
Yeah. I think this is kind of the latest I've seen Burns fall in a while. I've been in some really pitcher hungry drafts lately.
Yeah, I don't take Alcantara, but I've taken him like once or twice. Oh, good news for me. I've taken Rhys Hoskins one time.
Ooh. Was that on purpose or just didn't ever pop up?
I just didn't like where he was going. I thought he was going way too early. He's going like pick 80.
Yeah.
I don't like the infielders there. I feel like the infielders at 140 are just as good.
Sure.
Like I mean, I guess the one guy kind of like Willie Adames.
Yeah.
Because I stack the Brewers quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Not. I've been preaching the Christian Yelich sermon for a while, and which comes off kind of disingenuous being a Brewers fan, but it's really just about a volume and lineup position in that. I don't think it's gonna be a super great offense, but when they hit, they'll hit.
Yeah, I think I like a lot of their guys. I was taking Mitchell before he got kind of steamed. I'll take William Contreras at the way end occasionally.
Okay. I'm going to take Max here. He's another guy that I kind of want to get a little bit more of. He looked pretty good today. My biggest concern is just longevity I know he's going to be good at a lot of points in the season. I just don't know if he's going to make it through a whole season or if he's going to have more like what we've seen Kershaw do the last few years, just to keep him healthy.
Well, they should load manage him because he's run out of gas the last 2 years in the playoffs. He had nothing for the Dodgers 2 years ago, and he had nothing in the playoffs last year too. So I mean,
you want to talk about running hot there?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I didn't have much Altuve either.
Most of my Altuve came in the bullpen drafts. I think he was a good value at that point. I had a lot of Houston stacks in that.
He's a good pick now if you get him after pick 100.
Yeah,
he'll be a low advanced player that can win you the thing at the end.
All right. I think I'm just gonna take the outfielder here in Reynolds.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say too. The Yankees are definitely trading for Brian Reynolds this year, so that's why they're gonna win the World Series.
That was part of your prediction that you didn't share.
Yeah, I forgot to, but it's definitely happening.
Do you think? Have you thought at all about? I feel like Houston's going to work with what they have for Altuve. Obviously, he's out less time, but what are your thoughts on what the Phillies going to do with Reese out?
Yeah, I haven't really thought too much about, like you mentioned, the Astros. I really didn't think about that. Everyone's already saying, like, oh man, yesterday was so funny. People are on DraftKings. People are drafting Derek Hall at the end.
Yeah, he's getting drafted on Underdog.
I'm like, oh, I'm glad people are following the news, but I think it's stupid. Like, I'm glad you guys are all up on it. I mean, it was so fun to do those drafts on DraftKings too yesterday because people were still taking Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah,
someone would get autoed Rhys Hoskins every time. So, yeah, but I think it's like we kind of talked about it a little bit. It's going to be Jake Cave, and they're going to move Jake Cave in the outfield, and he's like 30 now. He has no track record. I mean, he's a failed Yankees prospect. I was taking him with the Twins in NFB DCs. I would take him in like round 50 because I would just be like, Buxton will get hurt, and they're going to have to rely on Jake Cave, and then I win all the money. And Jake Cave does his thing of hitting 200 with less than 10 home runs. So, I mean, I think the Phillies are going to get real sick of him pretty quickly. And then I don't really know what they're going to – I mean, I think Derek Hall is fine against – I mean, he's good in DFS because he has like a 250-plus ISO. But, I mean, we're talking about real baseball here. He's not very good. I mean, he absolutely cannot hit lefties. I think someone on Twitter – mentioned he had like 7 at bats against lefties and he struck out like 5 times last year. So I mean he's got to be
small
platoon.
Sample. He could be better.
No, there's a pretty good sample in the minor leagues. He cannot do it. So I mean he's just got to be platooned. And I mean I think we talked about this a little bit too. Like I don't love anyone who's a platoon guy because in the finals it's hard. A guy has 5 games or 4 games in a week because there's going to be lefties on the mound. It's just hard for that guy to get into your lineup.
Yep. Yeah, I forget who we were talking about. It was somebody that Kirk,
Belt, maybe
Alejandro.
Well, no, Kirk isn't a platoon guy though.
Okay,
like
maybe
Belt. Like Belt is not going to play against lefties.
Right. Yeah, he's a 2.6K, probably going to bat 4th on opening day for on draft.
Oh, you're already looking.
Oh, I was already looking at this.
Shame on you, sir.
The other one that stood out to me was Luke Raley has been batting 4th for Tampa against righties, and him against Erod, he's like 2.1K. Not that you even really need salary savings on this first day, but
is Erod's the Tigers opening day starter?
He is. Yeah, you should know this.
That came out today. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they released they did like it all at once
over Joey Wentz. That's impressive.
Over Matt Boyd.
Over Boyd, yeah.
I've taken some Matt Boyd in this tournament.
You should, except for he's not going to make it through the season, unfortunately, because he never does.
You got any?
If he throws over 130 innings, I'll give you a cookie.
Ooh, I like cookies. You got any Kellenic takes?
I completely never started taking him, so I'm very annoyed that he's risen so much. So I hope he fails for all of you. But yeah, I mean, a couple spring training homers don't really wow me. Sorry, bad ballpark, bad lineup spot. I mean, maybe he'll be great, but I'm happy. Like I got enough Corbin Carroll, before now he's going in the fourth round every time. So there are definitely some guys where, even Corbin Carroll, like I think he's really good, but I'm kind of just wary of anyone who gets steamed too much. Yeah, I feel your pain, JK. I can't believe this is a stream for me. If we're
All right,
we're bonding over JK.
This is crazy. I've been taking Corey Seager up into the 30s, so I will be glad to take him here at 57. He's my other real stand in the early rounds. Yelich and Seager. I just feel like he's kind of the way I'm thinking about it is he's due regression from what he did last year, plus the shift change rules.
Yeah, I was going to say he's one of the guys I pinpointed in my article that will benefit. One of the biggest beneficiaries of there being no shift is going to be Corey Seager. Yeah, we're talking Tigers. Unfortunately, some of my highest owned players in the Dinger are Tigers. I have a lot of bias, a lot.
Brandon here's a Detroit guy too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I got a lot of Baez. I think Baez is my highest owned hitter now.
He's pretty much free, so you stand to
it's
benefit.
One of my yeah. It's one of my things though. It's like with Judge last year. Like Javier Baez, he wants to have a great season and opt out.
True.
There's no free agents. He opts out, he's going to get way more money. And trust me, he does not want to play for the Tigers. No one does. So, I think, and they moved the fences in too, which I don't know how much that'll actually help him because the left field fence was not the problem. So if he can just pull the ball a little bit more. Were you taking Rodon like before? Like Rodon's a great pick here.
Yeah. I was taking him even before he was. Today it came out that he's going to miss like a month, but he is throwing, so it's not like he's shut down still. But yeah, I was taking him as he fell. Not usually usually in the builds that I have him, he's like a number 3 guy. So this is a little bit different. Normally I would have like 2 outfielders, an infielder, and 2 pitchers when I take Rodon, but I'm fine with him. Like he's not. I don't know. He's just good. Like I believe
he's a guy who can win. Yeah. If you make it through April, he's a guy that can win you this thing.
Yeah.
So I was taking him before, but I'm taking him a bunch now that he's dropping. I'll take even Tyler Glass now because he goes really late, like pick 130 now.
McCullers at all?
No, I'm never a McCullers believer. I just think he's going to get hurt and he won't throw the innings. Like Rodon, when Rodon's on, when Glasnow's on, those guys can go really deep into the game. McCullers is like a 6-inning pitcher, like at best. So I don't see the upside with McCullers. Obviously his stuff is very good and he's on a good team. But yeah, I don't. And like the guys here, I'll just throw it out there. We can talk about it now. You're not going to take these guys.
Okay.
You're not going to take these guys.
Okay.
But like I think both of them are going to get off to a really good start. So I think they really help teams that have Rodon or Glasnow or something because you'll be able to use these guys until those guys get healthy, and then those guys can like win you the dinger. But so one of them is David Peterson on the Mets.
Okay.
He's like fighting for the 5th starter job. Yeah, his 238. That's all me. I'm the only guy taking him. No, I'm joking. I've seen other people take him.
Any of that? I've been leaning the Ty Lord side of this.
Really? Because no. I mean, I just think like when you do the math, like Quintana's out,
Yep.
right? And he's going to be out for a while. And Carrasco is injury prone. Scherzer, Verlander, Senga. Who knows how many innings Senga is going to throw? So I feel like David Peterson. Like I'll just say it, David Peterson. I think is going to make the All-Star team. Like I think he's really good.
Okay.
And like he has a lot more upside than this other guy. I'm going to say like click on his thing for a little bit.
David.
Yeah. Like look at 126 strikeouts and 105 innings last year. On a good team, like didn't pitch that much. So like, I don't know if he's going to be like, oh, take David Peterson with Scherzer because like one of them will get a 2-start week at the end. Like I don't know if that's like I think like a lot of guys are going to pitch for the Mets basically, but like I do think like Peterson I think he's won the 5th starter job. I mean, I don't think it's like been reported, but like Tyler McGill was much worse than Peterson in that last game, and like Peterson had no control in that game, and he walked like 4 guys, but he got out of like both jams that he was in like with nothing. Like I just think Peterson's good, and like McGill, I think he is not as good. I think there's some holes in his game. So that one, okay. So you don't hate that?
No, I don't hate that. Here's what I saw. This is what I saw today on them. I don't know if you can read that at all. Let me make it bigger.
Oh, so
the MLB.com beat writer basically put them to one of the two of them is going to start after Scherzer in this first time through, but he didn't want to commit to either of them. So, and they've also discussed 6-man, but yeah, I don't
think they're doing a 6-man. Yeah.
Okay. But before you move on to the other one, I feel like, well, let me make my pick here.
Don't take David Peterson. Don't get auto David Peterson. And
well, it'd be fine
for the bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna add Tyler O'Neill here. I just think he bounces back and has a health. Well, I don't know if he has a healthy year, but if he is, I think he's gonna just smash on I think Cardinals offense is gonna be awesome. I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah, you don't have to sell me. If anything, I have too much Tyler O'Neill just from proximity to Vlad with my rankings. So
yeah,
Vlad is the biggest Tyler O'Neill stan of all. So
yeah. But the guy that you mentioned was Quintana, who I haven't heard many people talk too much about him. No, I'm sorry, not Quintana. Carrasco. We know Quintana's out for a while, but Carlos Carrasco. And I've just sort of been soft fading him just because I don't, like it's awesome that he's pitching after the leukemia or the cancer and stuff that he had. But it seemed he's another guy who, since he's come back, some, maybe not related things, but I just feel like I don't want to take that person who's had that big major body, downfall. I feel like overall, you can bounce back, but I just don't trust him for a whole season.
Where is he even going in? I don't.
He's way at the end, so he's free if he smashes.
Oh, he's totally free too. Okay.
Yeah, I don't hate people taking him. It's just not someone I can take, and I want. This is a guy I want to succeed, right? But so I don't want to cheer against him. But it's kind of a weird thing. People seem to never really talk about it that way, and I don't know if that's just me or what.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. I mean, I think even without that, he just hasn't been that durable. I mean, I was surprised when you clicked on him that he won 15 games last year. Just that's kind of amazing.
So I don't like Giolito. I take Gilbert occasionally. I think I'm going to hold off on pitcher and just I'm
Take your boy.
gonna jump my guy here. Oh,
Oh,
not
I
get
thought
David
you
Peters.
okay.
Who's my boy?
Your other guy, Lars Newbar. Is he not?
Oh no, he
Those
was.
bags are packed at pick 120 or
Those
whatever.
bags are in the bullpen round 20. I think I took him the
round
first
20.
10 drafts.
Okay.
Well, let me look. I got the Spike Week here open. Let's see the tool here. Lars. Yeah, my average ADP on Lars Nootbaar is 180, which is 70 spots from where he's going.
That's incredible. But that wasn't available in the dinger, right? It was he started out steamed.
Yeah, we steamed him up.
Okay. But he's got steamed 30 picks now because it was 120, right? And now it's 90.
Where's he at?
He just went
91. Yeah,
he just went because I said him. But yeah, it's like pick 98 or something now. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine in the dinger. I just I don't know. I mean, Riley Green's better than him. It's fine.
Yeah. I've definitely he's been my latest Steam guy. I've been taking him early. I don't know why. I just can't get on board Hunter Renfroe this year. It doesn't feel right, but something just feels up. It's a gut call, and I don't know why.
No, you're too close to this because you're a Brewers guy. That's what it is. You hate him.
That could be, but no more. I probably hate the Brewers more than him, based on how they're building.
Why don't you like? I think his swing is perfect for the Angels ballpark. I think he can really reach that right field. I think he could hit 40 home runs.
All right, I need to get him back into my.
Yeah,
my.
I mean, I'm like the way that I draft, the outfielders from like Yelich to like Riley Green. That's like my sweet spot. I feel like for outfield. Like the guys around like pick 6, like Yelich, he was going more like pick 60. Like now he's like 55 or so. But like Yelich, Chris Bryant, Quan, Stanton. Yeah, I think the Cardinals. It's gonna be Nootbaar, it's gonna be Tyler O'Neill, and it's gonna be Carlson to start the season. Yeah, I mean, Nootbaar will be in right field, and Carlson will be in center, and O'Neill will be in left. And then if they do anything with Walker, where like Carlson like loses his job, basically O'Neill will play center and Walker will play left field.
Okay,
that's literally what they've been saying, and that's literally what's going to happen. So I know people are a little confused about it, and like Walker would have been steamed if he was like, we talked about this a little bit in our chat the other day on Discord.
Yeah.
Like Walker and Volpe, those guys would be steamed big time on here already if they were in play.
Yeah, on drafters they're really expensive, and I don't know why, but I will take some joy if Jordan Walker doesn't make the team right away.
He's not making the team.
Okay,
there's no way.
Yeah, Carlson goes late because he's sort of the odd man out if he does struggle.
I took way too much Carlson. That's like my only motivation for like doing drafts is to do drafts that don't have Carlson. I mean, I don't think it matters that like, oh, he was going pick 200 and now he goes, oh, look at you getting
he came
pro after ADP.
All right, so now we got 5 outfielders. I can pretty much ignore that now till the end.
Now you can chill. Yeah, this is how I am too. Like you go 2-2-2 and then you take 3 straight outfielders and then you can just chill until, because like from here to like Benintendi and Gallo, I mean, there's just like not like look at who was the other guy who just like recently just completely dropped off in ADP. Blackman is now like going. Blackman's now going one. Blackman and like Conforto got steamed a bunch. I don't understand that one.
Oh really? Maybe I'm just stinks. Like, well, I'm in trouble then. I guess
Well, I mean, he hasn't played in years.
my theory was that he was the guy who wasn't going to get platooned for the Giants out of that group, like the Jock, Conforto. They're
don't think
kind
it
of in
matters.
that same area.
I think he's that good against lefties anyway.
All right.
I don't think you want him.
So here's another guy that I've been taking ahead of. Well, I already have a ton of Chris Sale from before he ran up the board. I still take him occasionally. And I don't know, something about Kyle Wright. I just don't believe in the like randomly showing up for 1 year after, I don't know. That's more of a field sort of thing. He projects fine.
I like Kyle Wright. I mean, it's not like I love him. Cortez is my highest owned player, period.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Sale, I would only take Sale like when he fell past ADP, like when he was going in the 140s or wherever he was going before. I would never take him now. I mean, it's just he has not thrown the innings in years. He just does not seem like a guy to me who's going to last the whole season and then win it for you at the end. So I either want like the narrative that I'm going with now, like I want guys that can win it for me at the end, or guys that can like get my team through the first half so that the guys that can win it for me at the end, can carry it from there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's right though.
I think that's a good way to build. I tend to go a little more safer, but include a couple of those more points per start sort of guys, just in general. But my Sale ADP was about 150 average ADP, and he's now at like 110 or 113. So I feel pretty good. I don't need to really take him now. But yeah,
I like Haniger and Suzuki in this range too, because they used to be going a lot earlier.
Yeah, I'll admit to have gotten scared off of both of them because just Haniger just repeated years of problems and injuries.
He's fine. He's already doing baseball. He's playing catch or whatever he's doing. It's great. I mean, yeah, you're not going to be able to use him the first little bit of the season, but that's okay because I'm taking 7 outfielders every draft. Like it's,
Okay. What is your that's your standard, like a 6-7-7 build?
Yeah, definitely.
So I
take a lot of good pitchers. So like I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm taking all David Petersons, but like I do usually take 3 guys in the top 100 or ish, range, and then go from there.
Yeah, so usually on a build like this where I have these 5 core, I'll usually just take 6 total outfielders, and then go like 7-7. That's generally my build, and even if I don't have as strong outfielders as this, I'll still lean towards going 7 infielders over 7 outfielders because my theory there is that I'm winning the flex with the infielder a lot more often, just because those guys that you're getting at the last few rounds are going to just score more points generally, and the outfielders going there are only going there because of the position thinness.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. For me, it kind of depends. Like, I like taking that 7th outfielder just because it's like, it depends who it is, but it's like that guy doesn't have to be great for you. You know what I mean? It's like if you take Nelson Cruz, like I know he's so old and he's gonna be hurt and whatever. But like if Nelson Cruz is healthy in the playoffs on San Diego, like, are you kidding me? He could definitely be your flex. So like you don't you don't need him to do anything the whole season. And like no one in the playoffs is going to have Nelson Cruz. Like
It's true.
he's not a good pick. But he is, you know what I mean? It's like he's not a good pick, but he is.
No, he's not. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, most likely he's a terrible pick and you're lighting money on fire. But as your 7th outfielder
Sure.
on a team with 5 really good outfielders and, you know, Robbie Grossman or Profar as your 6th guy, then I love Nelson Cruz, especially if you have like anybody, like if you have Machado, Tatis, or Soto, then I think it's really smart. But like in general, you're correct that the outfielders at the end are shitty.
Let's see. I like Bassett at all this year.
I think he's fine. I like him better than like the other guys around here. I mean,
Right. I feel like a lot of people like Jesus Luzardo, and I'd like him at like
I mean, I liked him at
160 or
pick
170.
Yeah. I liked him when he was going a lot later. Not anymore.
Right. So I'm just gonna fill in then with Bassett. That's usually why I take him. Is just he's fine. Like I wouldn't have minded Severino coming to us, but not with 2 New York guys either. And with Rodon, I don't want to necessarily put Glass now with him.
Oh, Severino was available?
No, he went.
No, he was gone.
He went a few picks earlier.
Yeah, he just
3 picks
a little
earlier.
bit. Yeah. I've been taking like Glass now here. Just, I mean, sometimes he falls even further.
Yeah,
but it's just like I said, like you can. Roddy was the next pick. But just like I said, like you can, if you can get guys that you think so you can tread water at pitching until guys like Glasnow and Rodon come back. I think it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, I need to get maybe some more Senga. Pablo Lopez is looking pretty good in spring training. I never take Kershaw. Kershaw is just like he's not gonna make it. He's too old.
it's funny. He's not even really that old. It just hasn't held up.
He's just
Tim
not.
Anderson.
He's just not healthy. He can't hold up anymore.
Do you like any of these like late Chicago stacks?
So I have a lot of Benintendi and Moncada. I think Moncada is like the best value pick in the whole thing. Basically, he was my highest owned player for quite a bit. And he has not gotten steam the whole time. He hit his first home run of spring training today. I mean, he went to the WBC, so he has a lot less at bats. But yeah, I think Moncada. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not a good injury. It's not a good injury, like oblique, and like he's not like doing anything yet. So like he's gonna be out a while. But like, yeah, if he comes back and doesn't get hurt right away, he's gonna be a great pick because he's one of the best values. And like another guy, like I don't think I have very much Reed Detmers. Like I took some of him at like when he was going way late at the beginning, and then I was just like, why am I even taking this guy? Like he's not going to throw the innings,
right?
And
potential
now
6-man rotation.
Yeah, and like everyone's obsessed with him now. It's stupid. Like he's a great like I was all over Reed Detmers in DFS last year. Like before. Like this guy is very talented. He threw a no-hitter before he even knew how to pitch. Okay.
Right.
It was the luckiest no-hitter of all time. He got sent to the minors like a month later. And they fixed him. He came back and he was really good, but like he's a 6-inning pitcher on a bad team with a 6-man rotation. Like get over yourselves drafting him top 140. Get out of here.
So I have looking at my exposure here to Detmers. I'm with you here. My I have 8% over all of the. I'm looking at these numbers that I'm giving are for like all of the tournaments on Underdog. I've got them. My average ADP is 216, so I feel like I got him at the right spot. He was actually last year, I just remember this because I tweeted it out, but he was my last pick of my last draft last year going into the season. I didn't have too much of him, but he just stands out because I don't know why he was the last one, but I took him last and had to tweet it out.
Yeah, I think he's good. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it as a value, especially anymore.
Yeah, especially when he's
Because
going
he had a
like
good
these
spring.
Minnesota guys, Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Senga, we don't know. But
Yeah, Senga fell a little bit in this over round.
are you on the Brady Singer train at all?
I took him a bunch at like the start, but now I would take like anybody else in this range over him. Like even Barrios. Like I think Barrios, like people, like I was watching like the Badge Bros had like a little short thing on YouTube, and JW was like talking about not taking Barrios while describing why he's the perfect guy to take in best ball, because he's going to have some good games, and you're not going to use his bad games. I mean, if you're only drafting 6 pitchers like me primarily, you're not going to want like a ton of him, and I don't. But like if he falls past ADP, and like he wasn't he going earlier before, like I think he's totally fine to take now.
Yeah. I don't want to put him with Bassett. So
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna grab another guy who I've probably missed out. Whoa, that's a really early Tristan Casas. But I'm gonna take Sal Perez.
Casas is another guy where I was just like, don't understand why he got steamed to 175.
Yeah, we could.
I think that's
We could blame Brendan Tuma a little bit for that.
100%. Like he has great content, but like, no thanks. like I definitely have some shares of him at like pick 220, but like there's no reason to keep taking him, guys. And like Rendon got steamed like a little bit. He was going pick 190 or pick 200, and like Rendon, it's like the opposite. He's the opposite of like Javi Baez to me, where like Javi Baez, he really wants to play well, get good stats, opt out, and make money. Anthony Rendon, you ask him about like if you read any of his interviews, he's like, I have a great life. Oh, there's a game today? Yeah, I'm very rich and have a nice family and all this stuff. This guy does not care about putting up the stats for your fantasy team at all. So tread carefully on that, you guys. Great player, but he has basically been not doing very much since winning the World Series and signing a huge contract in Los Angeles.
Yeah, you go back to when they were winning in Washington and you look at his interviews back to then, and it's like, yeah, I don't really like baseball.
He does not care. He just doesn't care.
Really, really early Garrett Mitchell too.
Yeah.
I like this group of pitchers here, so I want to grab one out of these 3: Singer, Garcia, or Montgomery. What do you think?
I mean, I have a decent amount of all of them. So, I mean, I think for this team, maybe, yeah, Singer's fine. I mean, I think Montgomery is really solid.
Yeah.
Garcia, I just thought Garcia would be more of an innings guy last year, so I have a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from that. But I still take him quite a bit.
I have over all the tournaments, I have 20% exposure to Jordan Montgomery, so I was sort of avoiding him there for that.
I basically hate every guy that got steamed. So like Hunter Brown, I hate Hunter Brown. Like I don't understand. I mean, I get it. Like people think he's the next Verlander or something. He's not. Like he's okay, but he's just going way too early now. So that's like my only thing is like I want to stop drafting, but like at the same time, I'm just like people are making terrible picks right now because there's so like because we've been drafting for a while. What's up, Nez? Let's not ignore that one question though. Who is your favorite team? Mine.
All right. So I have a few. Basically, it is Houston and the Dodgers and Milwaukee and then it's a drop off when I look at my stack overall, my total drafts.
So do you do like 4 or 5 man stacks, or are you just doing like 2 or 3 guys mini stacks?
The only team that I really hit the 4 on is the Astros, and that was a lot more with that was pretty early when you could get Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman together, and then throw in Michael Brantley last round. But pretty much my cap is 3, like in general, and like if it's like a bad team, it's 2. That's sort of my general guideline.
Who do you take late on the Dodgers? Who are you taking late on the Dodgers?
I'm a Vargas. I've been taking Vargas. But usually it's like a Mookie and Muncy, or a mixing in like two guys like Mookie and Will Smith. I've been ignoring the outfield guys at the end just because I think that's just going to be in flux the whole year. Whoever's hitting well is going to get the outfield role there. Like between Peralta, Hayward, Outman, Trace Thompson, none of them really stand out to me. And I started when I started just drafting based on bat projections, I was like, oh yeah, Chris Taylor again this year. And then I've gone Vargas over Taylor. Just looking at how Taylor, I don't want to look into spring too much, but watching Taylor at bat right now, he just looks lost. He's just swinging at everything. It just didn't look comfortable. I don't know if it's lingering injury from last year or whatever, but I've basically cut Chris Taylor out. So
I love Chris Taylor for the last 5 years or whatever, but I think a lot of those guys have like the platoon concern that I'm worried about. Doesn't really help you in the championship weeks. So like I'll dabble in David Peralta, but like I'm not a big like prospects guy. I'm not taking James Outman. I'm definitely not taking Jason Hayward or Trace Thompson. That's like a joke to me. But I think like some of my favorite teams to stack are, well, I'll let you make your
I already know Detroit's up there.
Yeah, Detroit is definitely, well, they moved the fences in. I don't know if you guys heard this.
I'm going to take Glaber here.
Let me school you. What team do you think Glaber is going to finish the year with?
Maybe I'm not taking Glaber here. Why don't you answer that question? I hadn't considered that. You think he gets pushed out with the young guys?
I mean, Ken Rosenthal was talking today again about how they should trade him to make room for Volpe and Peraza. And yeah, I mean, I'm not hating. I mean, maybe Outman will be really good. It's not my style. Yeah, I think Glaber, like they've tried to trade him before and it hasn't happened. So maybe that's good. And like Rosenthal mentioned that too. But I do think the Yankees are going to make some moves this year. I think they're going to add to their offense. So yeah, I like to stack the Tigers, of course, because I like Meadows, I like Baez, I like Green. I haven't really like Torkelson has been going before I can take him in the last round, so like I don't have much torque. I've taken Kerry Carpenter, who might not even like make it. He'll be playing in September though. He'll be up in the playoffs, sure. That's for sure. And like it's fine as your 7th outfielder. It's whatever. I like the Yankee. Like if you get the first pick and you have Judge, then take Rizzo and take LeMahieu. I think that's smart. Take Stanton. I do like the Red Sox a little bit. I like where you're going with it. Yeah. I like Turner a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Justin Turner. He's a guy who I've missed out on.
Imagine taking Casas over Turner. Couldn't be me. But yeah, I like Turner, Duvall, Turner, Kike. You have Devers on this team, right? So yeah, that's
right. Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other
Because I was
teams.
thinking Cattell there, but
I
I
full
think that's
stacked the
pretty
Mets.
similar.
I full stacked the Mets
Full?
the other day. Like
What is full?
Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, then Marte also fell to me, and then I took Canna just to do it.
Sure.
So I took like all of them. And hey, they got that extra game during the playoffs, right? So you can do worse. And those guys all steal bases. Nimmo and Marte could go off with the steals. Lindor too.
Yeah. Are you diving deep on the Mets at all? I've found that's another group that like Vogelback, pretty much anybody after Canna, maybe some Jeff McNeil I've mixed in, but pretty much everybody after Canna I've been out on just because it seems like it just seems crowded and they don't have any reason, like unless somebody really gets super hot, but none of them really stand out in talent to me. They'll just all have roles to play this season or they'll get replaced.
I think McNeil is fine to take because they paid him, so like he's not going anywhere. But I'm not taking like Vogelbach, or the only thing that's cool is Vogelbach is eligible in the outfield,
Right.
So, but like I mean, I said earlier on the stream, I think Shohei Ohtani will be the Mets DH in the second half. I mean that's a long step for me to make, but like I think he's going to be traded, and I think the Mets make a ton of sense. I think like Brett Beatty for Ohtani, like get it done, Cashman or whoever their GM is, like just do it. Like,
you think that's all it'll take?
I mean, he's an expiring contract, and in baseball, that's
right.
worthless. So like the only thing is you get Ohtani for the stretch run in the playoffs, and so like you're already eliminating half the league right there, like from your leverage or whatever. Like we know,
yeah,
like half the teams like are not even trying. Like sorry Tigers, sorry Pirates, like you're not going to the playoffs. So like you're only dealing with like a few teams that could even pull it off. And like I think that's like what the Mets need. I mean, obviously he's a pitcher too. The Mets have a lot of pitchers that would, throw around, but like their pitchers are already all hurt and old.
Right.
So like we'll see what happens with that. And like I don't take a lot of Ohtani in this because he could get hurt so easily because he's pitching.
All right, so
you don't get his
in your honor, we're going to take two more pitchers.
Oh, you're going to take both my pitchers?
We're going to take your two guys. So
you don't have to take them yet. You could take them at 19 and 20. Don't take them now.
Well, you never know. I was watching the stream. I might get a David
no
Peterson
one.
bug in there.
No, you're banned from Sheep's channel if you take David Peterson and Kyle Gibson is my other guy.
Oh, okay.
No one's taking Kyle Gibson. No one's taking him.
I love that pick.
You like it?
I would hate it.
Okay.
I love that pick.
I thought you would absolutely hate this one. Well, like Peterson, like which one do you hate more? Peterson might not even make the rotation, and I'm saying both of these guys will be on the. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Gibson over Peterson. I
promise you, I've never seen anyone take Gibson, and I've seen people take Peterson.
Okay.
So and look at their ADPs. It's a whole 1 point. Don't take Gibson right here. I take Moncada or something. Take Polanco. Fine. Oh, take Polanco.
He's really fallen there. Let's take him as our seventh infielder.
Yeah. You don't need him to do anything until he's right. Yeah. Perfect.
That's the perfect spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Maybe I don't have as much as I think. No. Okay, I have one share of Kyle Gibson. I exaggerated here.
Oh, you did. You did take him. Okay.
I did. Yeah. No, this is not. I don't mean that he's the best starter, but he's the number one starter in Baltimore.
Well, see, that is like not so great because he's going to be facing everybody else's ace at least at the beginning of the season.
This is true.
So it's going to be a little difficult for him to get wins with that. But he will get some quality starts. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Rangers, the Angels. I'm not a big believer in their pitching overall. Like I think Tyler Anderson's solid and Detmers is good and Ohtani obviously, but
I think Sandoval is really streaky.
Sandoval is streaky. None of these guys go deep into games, and their bullpen blows. So like, it's a tough sell for me.
All right, we're gonna do it.
No, take an outfielder.
I got my surprise outfielder.
Oh, okay.
I got my surprise outfielder.
Okay,
that we'll get into. See what you think, since you're giving me your pitchers that nobody else is taking.
I mean, you've taken Gibson once, and I've seen guys with badges take Peterson. So I've seen some horrifying things getting sniped on David Peterson. But yeah, I mean, I like Gibson on, especially like if you have a guy like Rodon, like Gibson's gonna throw the innings.
Yeah,
like there's no question about that. Obviously, like I don't think he's as good as Peterson. Like Peterson strikes out over a guy per inning. Gibson is not doing that, but Gibson's playing in this huge ballpark. He's the number one starter. They believe in him. They're a smart organization. You know, they're a bunch of nerds over there, so they're going to help him. He's like an every other year guy, and he's coming like 2 years ago. He had a pretty decent season, and like after this draft, you know, it's stupid just to look at the projections, but like Gibson is projected for like the same amount of points as guys that go like 100 picks ahead of him.
I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you. This disgusting picks that are just boring, but are you gonna pitch? That's my type of guy. Last year was Chris Flexen. He was my guy last year that I just kept taking last round.
Yeah, he got booted.
I thought he got
booted from the rotation.
Yeah.
Which will probably happen to Peterson.
Have you taken any Marco Gonzalez this year? That would be a true sicko play.
Oh God, no, absolutely. That's like a 3-year-old play right there. Haven't taken him in years. Oh, I probably had him in NFBC last year.
Okay.
Is he projected to make the Mariners rotation?
Yeah, I think
I have not seen him go. Here's the thing though. Like, even if, let's say, Gibson and Peterson are horrible picks, it's better to take guys that you're just like, oh, they're boring, can throw the innings. At least no one is like taking these guys like regularly, like all these other guys that stink and throw the innings, and you're just going to be duped at the end.
Yeah, like Marquez will probably go. Marcus Stroman will probably Kyle Gibson is no worse of a pick than Marcus Stroman.
He's better than literally all these guys on screen right now, for sure. Like people were taking Wainwright in like 190.
Yeah, people like Wainwright. He's a good guy.
Captain.
But apparently, I don't know if you noticed this, but Underdog retired him. They took his team off.
They're predicting the future. I mean, that's just a fact.
I thought he was retired at the end of last year. I couldn't believe he came back.
That's why he's going to suck this year, even when he starts pitching, is because Molina's gone.
Yeah, right.
Look at that, Torkelson.
Yeah, I don't understand the Torkelson. Is he even going to make the opening day?
Yeah, he's going to make the team, but he's like, I think it's okay as like your last infielder because I think he fits the mold of like guy that is not going to help you in the first half, maybe in the first 4 months, but if he figures it out, he could be going off in September. Like it's hard to think through like the week 17 of it all, because like when you stack the teams that are good, like we're trying to stack the Mets or whoever, like some of those teams are going to clinch and they're going to be shutting it down. you know.
Sure.
But like the
well, we
Tigers
saw
are not
here,
that team.
like here's another example. Mackenzie Gore is not any better of a pick than Kyle Gibson, and he goes like every draft.
No, he's
Maybe
a
not every
much worse
draft,
pick.
but way more often. Much worse team.
Yeah.
Like I don't love Baltimore
Terrible
as much as
team.
some people do, but the offense is much better.
Washington is the worst pitcher's park in the entire league, besides Coors, I guess.
All right, here's my last round outfielder for you.
Who?
My homer, Brian Anderson.
The play-by-play guy for the Rays? Who is this guy?
He was on the Marlins. He's
the third baseman. I was like,
he's going to play third
okay.
base. He's outfield eligible, and he doesn't get picked.
This is like taking Hunter Dozier or something. This is crazy.
I'd like him more than Hunter Dozier, but
no, I get it. That's such a oh man, the Brewers. I hate what the Brewers do. They just like moneyball and never win. It's just like it's so pathetic.
I know. I hate it too. And
yeah.
they did it based on like this. They had this huge, playoff drought, and then we get into the playoffs, and now we'll never really adjust the expectations. So we never have to worry about anybody complaining. We can still point to, hey, remember when we used to lose all the time? We don't do that anymore. We're better. But yeah, I think Brian Anderson is going to be one of the few everyday players for the Brewers that they don't mix and match. It's going to be like Yelich and him, and everybody else is going to get mixed and matched.
I
like
Adames.
And Adames.
Yeah, and Adames. I like that pick. Like, I feel like people fall in love with these guys at the end who are left-handed. And it's like, if you're even like close to being platooned and you're left-handed, like you're getting platooned. And like Brian Anderson, like, is he going to be playing outfield for them or is he playing third?
I can both. I think he's going to play both.
Both? Because like, what's the deal with is Urias playing second?
Yeah, he'll play second. They just cut Hira, so first base.
Hira, yeah, I saw that.
So first base DH will be like Rowdy and Winker and Voit. And
oh god, Voit. Yeah, dude, I hate this team. I hate the Brewers. Like Voit was literally was he the MVP in the COVID year? He like should have been.
Yeah.
Hit like
yeah.
All
right. Well, awesome. I don't know. We don't have a ton of people here, so I'm not going to go unless somebody in the draft wants us to look at their team. I guess this might be the last. I don't think we're going to do one more. I might do another draft later than this, but I'm going to call it a night here. I don't know. Maybe I'll fit in one before the end of the season, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with Underdog. Maybe we can get a mid-season tournament. Well, now we have to look at your team now that you said it.
It's awesome.
You just cursed yourself. I feel like people say that, and then it's never really that bad.
Their teams aren't that bad.
Yeah. It's usually like, I don't like a certain player or something. A couple of players I got that are different.
Or because I said he had a bad pick in there.
All right. We got
which team?
Number 12, which is a hard, like, I don't think you can draft 12 and feel good, feel great. So, well, we're gonna look at both your teams because you both sucked. 11 and 12. Yeah. But same thing with 12. It's really hard to draft out of 11, like, unless one of these guys fall, like, because, well, at least you guys aren't McRae here. But
Green Man.
Like, all right, so you guys, you start with infielder, which I like. These guys are great to start with. You got Schwarber. I feel like if you're drafting back here, you have to decide. This is like your decision. Like you take one of these infielders and you decide if you're going to take Schwarber or if you're going to pop in a Cole and a Burns. Like that seems like the basic decision. They followed it up with a real nice core here of pitchers. Like I don't love Shane Bieber, but that's fine. But Woodruff, Gossman, Drew, you waited till Verlander, Fried. I think those are great pitchers. I love George Springer. Like you're taking your Bryce Harper stab. I'm not doing a ton of it, but I get it. Taylor Ward. You guys have fine teams. I like these players at least. Yeah.
It's
And then,
easier if we can just if you can click on their team.
Yeah.
And just see it that way. I think it's easier to be like, oh yeah, this team sucks. Because I agree. I like all those players. Like I don't see really what's wrong with those guys.
The problem is it's always small and in the corner.
Oh yeah,
we need
smaller.
We need a better streamer view, Underdog. Yeah, Drew here. Wishes he went. That's one of those guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which I get it, but I love Freddie. Yeah, this pitching staff is fine. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. What do you think about Manaea?
I liked him in 200.
Was he going that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been taking him. Like he fell to 82 there.
Yeah,
that's where I've kind of been taking him recently.
I'd still take him here, for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind him. He's gonna throw the innings.
He is
big.
Yeah, and
big
I think he has a ton of bounce back.
Yeah, he's throwing harder.
Yeah. I think maybe there was a mistake here, Drew, with taking the Trey, Freddie, and then going 7 total. Right? Yeah, 7 total.
What's his outfield?
But we'll check. Yeah, especially taking Bryce
with Harper. Yeah,
and I would even put McCutchen in my questionable category as far as missing time, just rest time and old man injury type stuff. Yeah. So that's Drew's, and then the 12 spot, Billy Joe went with a 5 pitcher build, which I don't do, but I think this is fine.
He did it right,
to do
though. Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
He did it right.
Yeah, you took them all early. You got 1 or 2 starters on their team, and these guys will all pitch if they're healthy. So, yeah, definitely like
the
that.
funniest thing is Musgrove. Like Musgrove's going to be fine. Like he threw 3 innings, like in a sim game, and he never fell. Right? He's been going or what? He went at pick 70.
Well, he fell down to Snell, but he wasn't there before.
He was it's not that big a deal. I just had so much of him when he got hurt that I stopped. I became so gun shy. I'm just I don't want this one guy to ruin me. Like it just happened in football. So yeah. Oh, Dom Smith. Haven't taken him yet, but that's an interesting one.
I have a couple from earlier, but he didn't really. I don't think he played very well in spring. So it was sort of like Washington's
a home run yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right. Washington is just such a tough team. Not only are they bad, they have no allegiance to any of these guys, so they're just going to rotate through.
Anyone plays well, they're getting traded. Anyone plays well, they're getting traded.
True. Yeah. So yeah, this is a good infield. And then you went with volume outfield.
Oh, so we took Lane Thomas with Don Smith.
It's an interesting combination at the end there. Soler still could be a huge value pick. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this
I have
team.
a lot of him. I have a lot of Soler because he was high up in Vlad's rankings, which I used for a little bit of my early draft. So I have a lot of him and Garcia.
All right, we got one more. We got one more to check out here. We got M Buzzy. I'm gonna guess it's M Matthew matches up. So let's see. We got a 686. Just a real boring. I'd call it boring pitching staff, which I'm completely all right with.
You do have the Nola contract year narrative. Like if he's gonna have a spike year, it could be this year, and that would just be so funny.
I've definitely seen. I like Nola, but I think his price is too high. I'd rather take him with like Woodruff in that area. But I've seen people hyping him up. Like, I don't even remember who it was. Some random person on Twitter was talking about how they thought he was the Cy Young. I think
he could be the Cy Young. Like, I think like it's not much of a leap for me to be like Spencer Strider is getting hurt again, and DeGrom is getting hurt again, and all of a sudden, Rodon's already hurt, so that just makes Nola, by process of elimination, like the best pitcher in that range. I mean, because I'm not taking Sandy Alcantara very much.
Sure, yeah, and
he goes a little bit earlier anyway.
I think a lot of people have talked about Strider on how, like, the issue is he a 2-pitch pitcher? Is the league going to adjust? Blah blah blah. But I think you hit it on there.
Yeah.
That this guy throws hard, throws like he's the type of guy who is like, they call him Baby DeGrom or whatever, and like maybe he could end up being like DeGrom just the way he throws. So yeah, that's a really interesting thing. That
it's always funny when people are like, oh, like DeGrom is healthy now. Yeah, he's healthy because he hasn't been throwing, he hasn't been pitching. Like, and same thing with Strider. It's like once these guys start going full go, then we'll see how healthy they are. And I mean, I have a ton of DeGrom, but I think DeGrom is a different thing than Strider. So I have like 2.5 times as much of DeGrom, but like I can totally see like the Nola, because people like got skittish on DeGrom real fast. It's like, oh, he had a little thing in spring training and his ADP dropped like 8 spots or so.
Yeah. But yeah, the finish off M Buzzy here, got a nice, just a beautiful St. Louis stack.
Yeah.
And then went, he didn't take any early and went the volume at 8, this is great. I mean, we talked about Rendon maybe not being an awesome pick, but as part of this group, I think he's good. And then Torkelson, he was the guy that took Torkelson at the end.
Well, I like 8th. Where he got Rendon, and he got him with Ohtani. Like it makes lots of sense.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of mini stacks here too. The Hap Suzuki, which is nice.
I like the mini stacks over, get 2 or 3 guys from a decent offense. I like that better.
Yeah, Billy Joe, you've been working on 5 pitchers. Yeah.
It's tough. I started out doing 5 at the beginning, but I basically got away from it completely.
Yeah, you got there on 9 pitchers, but then how many of them actually got used in the finals? Yeah. Yep, I get it. And like, if you're doing a bunch, try out different stuff and enjoy the draft too. So, all right, cool. Well, thanks, Nick. This is awesome. Thanks for talking some betting, and thanks, Matt Meiselman, for joining us earlier. Nick, for the couple people hanging out still, work, and everybody find your work again and follow you. Well, it's in your name there, your Twitter handle. So
yeah, follow me on Twitter. Follow my if you're doing DFS, hit me up. I can probably get you a promo code for FTN if you want to do that. I'm gonna have more stuff on my Patreon probably.
Okay.
So patreon.com/Shlain. So like any slate that I'm not writing up for FTN, I'll have everything I would have put on there for
okay.
So like for opening day, for instance, like I'm not opening day and next Friday, I'll just have stuff on my Patreon, which is cool. It's very cheap. It's going to be like $3, $3.50 a month or something. So,
cool.
And it'll just have, top 5 or 6 pitchers on DraftKings, top 5 at all the positions, small write-ups, maybe a podcast, something like that. But like, and then I'll put bets on there too that I'm doing. So,
thanks, Drew and
yeah,
Billy Joe for hanging out.
Yeah, shout out everybody in the comments. That was cool. It was a fun time.
Yeah. Yes, thank you all. As I say every time, I appreciate everybody that comes in and hangs out and chats and listens to me talk, because you don't have to do that, especially on a Friday night. All right, cool. Well, everybody have a good night. Have a good weekend, and we'll have some baseball soon. Good luck.